Hi there, welcome back to our channel. In today's tutorial, we are taking our JavaScript skills to the next level by building an advanced drawing app from scratch. This app has all the core features you didn't expect. Let users draw with custom colors, change brush sizes, undo and redo strokes, and even save their masterpiece as an image. It's perfect for creative projects and web diagram fun. Here's what our final project will look like. In our advanced drawing app, we have many options to make creative diagram. We have splitted options into three different categories. First category as tools. With the help of tools, we have the brush. The tool will automatically select the pencil as default. If I'm a user, I can draw whatever we want with the help of pencil, and then I can change the color, and I can change the brush size, and I can do the undo or redo option with the help of current and previous state. And below we have a option to erase. If you don't want to undo or redo, we can erase this whatever we have drawn from this canvas, or else if you want to clear this entire canvas, below we have a option of clear canvas. If we click, the tool will automatically clear all the object inside the canvas. The second category as shapes. Inside this we have many shapes. First I will try with rectangle. If I click on rectangle, if I do the draw, we'll get the rectangle with border only. Inside the fill is empty. If you want to fill this with the color, I will use the fill color checkbox. This will help us to fill the rectangle with the help of same color. Same for circle, and same for rectangle, and same for hexagon. If you want, we can add with fill, without fill, and for pentagon, and for line we can add the line wherever we want. And then we have a arrow mark. For the arrow mark, we need to reduce the size of the brush to be 1. Then only we can see the head of the arrow, and then we can point from where to where, and then we can change the color of the arrow, and we can add the save to any of the object. If we need this as an image, we have a option to save as image. Once we click, the tool will ask the folder permission to save. For that, I will give the name of new image, and if I click on save, the tool will automatically save this diagram as an image. For that, I need to jump to the download folder. I can open this image whatever we have created from our tool. We can change color, adjust pen size, use an eraser, and even save our diagram as an image. Don't miss out this fun and educational project, and I upload unique project videos every week. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to subscribe our channel Saraj Chandar K and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Now let's dive into the code. Let's open this advanced drawing app project folder in my favorite code editor, Visual Studio Code. Let me know your favorite and why in our comment box below. Inside the directory, I have already created index.html, style.css and script.js. Inside the index.html, I have added HTML boilerplate with the help of exclamation mark. Along with that, I have changed the title to advanced drawing app by Sharat Chandar, and below I have linked the style.css and script.js. Apart from this, I have added one more link tag to use the font awesome icons. Now inside the body, we'll add the div with class of container. For that, in Visual Studio Code, we have a embed abbreviation to add the div with class attribute with the help of dot and then container. If I hit enter, the tool will automatically create the div tag with class attribute and then value of container. Inside this container, we need to add the sessions and then class of tools, and second session as class of drawing area. Inside the tool, I will add one more div with row. Inside the row, I will add the label with the class of title. This title contains strong attribute and then value of tools. Next to this label, we'll add the UL tag with the class of options. Inside the UL tag, we are going to add the pencil, brush and eraser like that. So first thing I will add the li with class of option. Inside this we'll add the input type to range. This will help us to add the size of the pencil, slider or eraser, whatever with the help of this range and then ID of size slider. This has minimum of 1 and max of 30 and by default I will set for 5 and same for li with class of option. Inside this we'll add the I with class of font awesome with fa and fa hyphen pencil. This will help us to get the font awesome icon to display inside the I tag. I will use the id2 icon and I will close this. Now let us see our HTML file in action. For that in Visual Studio Code we have a extension called Go Live. Once we click, the tool will automatically run our project into the default browser. Here we can see the title of Advanced Drawing App by Sharat Chandar and with the help of input range as well as the pencil icon. Same for this, we can create for brush and eraser, undo and redo. I just copy paste this and I will change the value instead of pencil. This will FA hyphen paint brush and this one as eraser and this one as undo and this one as redo. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the icons without refresh. That is how the live server will work. Along with this, I will add few more classes to this. By default, tool will select this pencil as active and then subclass of tool. I will add this subclass tool for all the options and ID of each li. First one is pencil, second li as brush, third one as eraser, ID equal to undo and this one as redo. We have created a tool same as this. We need to create the shapes also. For that I will copy this and I will reuse instead of this row and then I will add the subclass of shapes. Instead of tools, I will change to shapes and next to the shape, I will add one input type of checkbox. This will help us to fill the shapes or not with ID of fill color. We'll add one more label to this with for of fill color and then label value of fill color. This will help us to identify by user what this checkbox will do. And next to this, here we no need this input, so I will remove this. And next to this, I will remove this active also. Instead of pencil, I will set this as a rectangle and icon also square and here we'll add the pan tag to identify what this shape contains. So I will mention this as a rectangle. Same for others also. I will change this as a circle and then font of circle. I will copy this pan tag and I will make this as circle. Third one as triangle and will change the mountain of icon. This will help us to display as triangle and fourth one as square. This one also square and we'll add the text to this as square. Fourth one as hexagon, pentagon and line and arrow. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the shapes with rectangle, circle and hexagon as well as the arrow. Now the user which shape is contained which one. So same as this row, I will add one more row as div with row of colors. Inside this color, we'll add the label as same as this and I will change the tool to colors. And next to this, we'll add the UL with class of options. Inside this, we'll add file with help of class as option. So for that, here we have a option to li dot option asterisk 5. If I hit enter, it will create the 5li with option. And then second one, I will add the subclass as selected. And then last li with a class of option. Inside this, we'll add one input type with color picker of type of color. We'll set the default value to black with the ID of color picker. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the color picker with pop-up. With the help of this, we can select our color and we can make the diagram as possible. And next to this, we have a drawing area. Inside the drawing area, we'll add the canvas. This is an hero of today's project. If you want to learn more about canvas, in our previous playlist, we have created games as well as dynamic charts. If you want, I will add the link in the description. Please do check it out. Next to the sessions, we'll add one more div with buttons. Inside this button, we'll add two buttons. One as clear canvas, second one as save as image. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the two buttons. We'll add some icons with the help of font awesome. So for the button, I will add the class of clear canvas, and for this clearing the canvas, we'll add the I class of fa times. For the save button, I will add the class of save image and then icon of I with class of fa floppy disk. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the times of crash icon as well as save as image. So here I have missed this save text. If I save again, if I go to the browser, here we can see the text of this. Now that's all for the HTML. Now we need to style this. For that, we need to jump to the style.css. I have already added import URL of font family Poppins. Along with that, I have added the asterisk as a global selector. This will help us to clear the margin to 0, padding to 0, box sizing, border box, font family Poppins from the import URL. And then we have added the sans serif as secondary font. Now we need to add the styles to the body with the help of element selector name called body. We'll set the display to flags, align item center, justify content center, min height to be 100 VH, and we'll set the background as blue color. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the content is placed into the center of the screen with the help of display flux and align item center, and we'll set the background as blue color. Next thing, we'll add the styles to this div with the help of class. Why? Because here we have added div in many places. This will affect to all the divs. Instead of that, we can use the class as container with the help of dot selector and then value of container. We'll set the display flux again and we'll set the flux direction to be column, and we'll set the width of 100 percentage, and we'll set the gap to 10 px. We'll set padding inner spacing of 10 px, and we'll set the min width to 1050. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the container is placed into the column view. And next to this, we'll add the styles to this session with the help of element selector. Session will set the background as white. We'll set the border radius to 5 px. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the two different session with the help of background color white. And next thing, we'll add the styles to this tools with the help of dot selector, and we'll set the width of 100 percentage, height of 100 px. We'll set the padding inner spacing 10 px. We'll set the display flags, justify content to be center. We'll set the gap of 10 px. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the tool is set to 100 px and all the rows is set to center with the help of display flux. We need to add the styles to this and visible into this entire ribbon. We'll add the styles to the row because all these are say child elements with the help of dot tools and dot row, and we'll set the border right 1px solid and black color. This will help us to add the separator each of these rows. If I go to the browser, here we can see the separator as border in center of the each rows. And next thing we'll add the margin right of outer spacing will 10px. And next thing we'll add the styles to this option. With the help of this, we'll set the tools into the single liner with the help of tools again, and then subclass of options will set the list style to none. This will help us to remove all the bullet dots into the li. If I go to the browser, here we can't see the bullet dots. If I undo this, if I go to the browser, here we can see the bullet dots of each li. And next thing we'll add the display to grid. We'll set the grid template column 1 F4 and F4 and 1 F4, and we'll set the gap of 10px. If I go to the browser, here we can see the options with space of gap with 10px, and we can see the all options here. For this also we can add the text same as this. For that I will jump to the index.html. I just make this as a span tag as pencil, and second one as brush, and third li as eraser, fourth li as undo, fifth one as redo. If I go to the browser, here we can see the icon with text. So this will be easily understand by the user. If I go on over on this each of this text, we can see the text symbol of the mouse. We can change this to pointer, and here we have this row and then options and then option. For this we'll set cursor to pointer of all this option. If I go to the browser, now if I go on over, we can see the cursor pointer to each of the options. Next thing, I will set the width to this to be equivalent to each of this size. So this should be uniform. For this slider, we don't have any class. With the help of ID, we can add the styles. With the help of hash of ID selector and then value, I will set the width of 100px. If I go to the browser, here we can see the width of this. It will be equivalent to all the options inside the row. Next thing, we'll add the styles to this li with the help of tools dot options, and then li will set display to flags. We'll set align items to be center, and we'll set the gap of 10. This will be equivalent to all the icons as well as text. If I go to the browser, here we can see the uniform size between icon and then text. So here we can fully see the tools of 6 icons, but in the shapes some of the lines is not displayed properly. In below it is there. We need to fix that with the help of tools and then shapes. Inside the shapes only having this, and inside the shapes we'll have the options. For this we'll set the grid template column to be repeat by 2 and 1 frame and 1 frame. This will help us to add this column into the 2 row, and we'll set the width of 100%. If I go to the browser, here we can see all the 8 icons with text. It will be repeat of 2. How simple is this, right? Next thing, we'll add the styles to this title. Here the shape is in bottom, and then fill color and then checkbox is not in the proper align. So we'll add the styles to this with the help of tools dot shapes dot title. We'll set the display to flags, align item center. We'll set the gap of 10px. If I go to the browser, here we can see the uniform space and then text is in proper alignment. Next thing, we'll add the styles to this color. Here only this two separator is enough. of this last separator is unnecessary. So I will remove this with the help of tools, and then colors of this div will set the border to none. This will help us to remove that particular border in end of this row. And next thing, we'll add the styles to these colors with the help of colors, and then option for this li I will add the height of 20 px and width of 20 px. Will set the border radius to 50 percentage. This will help us to show in the circle shape, and will set the margin top to 3 px, and will set the position to relative. If I go to the browser, here we can see the input type of color is changed like this, and then we'll add the colors to the each li. For this, we'll add the colors dot option, and we'll set the nth child of 1. This will get this li of first one, and we'll set the background color to white. We'll set the border 1 px solid light gray color. If I go to the browser, here we can see the first color of white. Same thing will add for other childs also. I will copy this, and I will make this as second child, and for this background color as black, and I will copy this, and I will make this third child background color as red, and I will add the child of fourth one. For other childs, the border is not required. For fourth one, I will add the green color. Fifth one, I will add the blue color. I will change the value to this of the child. For the sixth one, we have the input type. So instead of background color, we'll set width of 50 px. This will help us to expand that particular input type. If I go to the browser, here we can see the colors with background, and previously this was in off of this way, and we have set the width. Then user can completely select whatever the color they want. Once the user is selected, we need to add the ring selection to that particular color, right? For that, in our HTML, for some of the option, we have added subclass as selected. With the help of this, we can add some colors to this. For colors, and then option dot selected before. This will help us to set on top of this. Why? Because we are directly adding this background color to the li. If it is directly the element, we need to use the before or after, and then we'll set the position to absolute, and then content should be empty. We'll set the top of 50 percentage. We'll set the left of 50 percentage. We'll set height of 12 px and width of 12 px. We'll set the background to inherit. We'll set the border radius to inherit, and we'll set the border 2 px solid. This will help us to add the ring of border with the color of white, and then we'll add the transform translate to minus 50 percentage comma minus 50 percentage. If I go to the browser, here we can see the black color as selected with the ring of white. If in some cases, if I select for white, what will happen? So I will shift this selected class to top. If I go to the browser, here it is not visible. Why? Because here we have added this background of border will be white. Instead of that, we'll change the color to this option, and if it is first child dot selected, same for before, we'll set the border color of gray color. If I go to the browser, now we can see the gray color of selection to that particular white. Now again, I will change this selected to the black. Here we can see the black as selected. Next thing, we'll add the styles to this drawing area with the help of drawing area, and then canvas. We'll set the width of 100 percentage. We'll set the height of 500 px. We'll set border radius to 10 px. If I go to the browser, here we can see the canvas area is extended. Next thing, we'll add the styles to these buttons. With the help of buttons of class selector dot, we'll set display to flags. This will help us to align the content into the center with the help of justify content, and we'll add the gap of 15 px. If I go to the browser, here we can see the buttons is placed into the center of the screen. And next thing, we'll add the styles to the button. With the help of this, we'll remove the border to none, outline to none, adding inner spacing 10 px, border radius to 5 px. We'll set the cursor to pointer. If I go to the browser, here we can see the cursor of pointer. I will add some space here of this save as image. If I go to the browser, here we can see the gap between them. And same for this, whenever is selected, we need to add the color of this particular background. For that, we have this option of active. With the help of this subclass, we'll set the background color of active to this particular selection. For this, I will jump to the style.css. Next to this tools, we'll set the option is over and the subclass of active where pan tag or label will set the color of blue color. If I go to the browser, here we can see the blue color of active is placed into the pencil. Why? Because here we have added the active class by default to the pencil. If I add to this brush, if I go to the browser, here we can see the active class is placed to the brush. Again, I will undo, I will save. If I go on over any of this text, will be blue color. And once we click, this will be set to active. That we need to do with the JavaScript. And inside this drawing area, we can draw with pencil or brush, and we can add the shapes with multiple colors. So for that, we need to jump to the script.js. First, we'll add the declaration with the help of const and the name of canvas equal to document is an owner of your web page. With the help of document, we can do the DOM manipulation with query selector of canvas. We'll check what this canvas contains with the help of console.log canvas. If I go to the browser, if I hit F12 in the console, here we can see the entire canvas element. That is how the DOM tree will work. Same as this, I will declare all other declaration presented in the index.html. Here I have declared all the declaration. Next to this canvas, I have added tool buttons. Inside this tool button, we are getting query selector all with the help of dot tool. Here inside the index.html, what are the class present with tool, all the list of elements, it will be presented in this query selector all. Same for this query selector, it was an element selector. We directly use the name. If it is by id, we use by the hash. If it is by the class, we use the dot. And apart from that, I have set the ctx of canvas dot get contacts into the 2D. And next to this, I have added two more declaration for undo and redo button with the help of id. So I will directly add the id of undo and redo. Apart from this, we need to add some global declaration of preview mouse X, preview mouse Y, snapshot, this drawing equal to false, and selected tool equal to pencil, brush width equal to 5, selected color equal to black color. These are all the global declaration. By default, tool will use to create the diagram. Apart from this, I will create one more let of history equal to array and then history step equal to -1. With the help of this declaration, we can perform undo and redo operations. Next thing, we load the canvas with proper offset height and width. So for that, we'll create one load method with the help of window.add event listener of load. This will help us to load once the window is loaded with the help of function. Inside this, we have already declared canvas here as a declaration, and then with the help of this, we'll get the property of width equal to canvas dot offset width. Same for canvas dot height equal to canvas dot offset height. And then instead of this, we need to set the background color to that particular canvas. For that, I will create one const of set canvas background. Inside this, we have already added this get context of ctx dot fill style equal to white color, and then ctx dot fill rect. This will fill the x and y of 0 from 0, and then canvas dot width comma canvas dot height. With the help of this, whenever we load this project, this will set the background color of white for the entire canvas, and will set the ctx dot fill style equal to selected color as black. Now whenever the tool is loaded, this set canvas background will be set to that entire canvas. If I go to the browser, here we can see the canvas is loaded with the help of white color. Previously it was loaded with the help of session white color. Now we have loaded with the background color with the help of get context. Next thing, we'll add the functionality to pick the particular selection, and we'll change the background color to this. For that, we have already added the tool buttons to get all the tools here. So inside this tool button dot for each, and we'll find the button. We'll check console.log of what this btn contains. If I go to the browser, here in the console, we can see all the li presented in the tools. Now based on this click, we need to get the selected item as well as the change color. For this, we'll add the event listener of separate li with the help of btn, and then add event listener of click. For this click, we'll check inside this, we'll add the console.log of this. I will go and click on arrow, we'll get that particular selection of each item. So if I click of the square, and we'll get a triangle. So based on this, we'll get the entire this of this particular value. Now this is getting as entire window. So because we are getting all the this of global, so instead of this, I will change these things to e. If I go to the browser, if I click on arrow, now we'll get the pointer event of this particular arrow with the help of mouse. With the help of this, we'll change the color. So before adding this color, we need to remove this previous state of active, right? For that, document dot query selector of this option dot active dot class list dot remove of this active. So what this line of code will do, we are checking all this object inside this document. If this is present, then we'll removing the class of active of all the options. If I go to the browser, now we can see the pencil is there. If I click on redo, we are getting error, cannot read properties of null. Sorry, instead of option, this should be options. If I go to the browser again, if I click on redo, now the pencil active is removed. Once we remove, next time we need to add the selection of this particular active, right? For that, with the help of btn dot class list dot add active, for this particular current value of the click, will add the active to this button. If I go to the browser, now the selection is in pencil. If I click on undo, now this will shift to undo. I will shift to redo. I will shift to line, arrow, and then circle. How simple is this, right? And then we have this selected tool on above global declaration. By default, this is pencil. Instead of this, I will set to btn dot id. This id contains if it is a pencil or brush or eraser, whatever we have. And then I will add the console.log to check this selector tool. If I go to the browser, now the console is empty. If I click on brush, we'll get this selected as brush as well as the background for eraser, undo, redo and rectangle. All this value based on selection will get that appropriate ID. Now with the help of this ID, we can draw the diagram inside the canvas. For adding the diagram with the help of mouse, we need to add the event listener for that. For this, we need to add some event listener of this canvas dot add event listener of mouse down. Whenever this mouse is down, we need to call this start draw of a function. We'll create this in shortly. For the next one of canvas, add event listener of mouse move. For this also, we'll add this function of drawing and canvas dot add event listener of mouse up of this function. Will set the is diagram global variable set to false, as well as will create one more function of save state. This will help us to save this to undo and redo. Now we need to create these functions with the help of const. I will add the start draw and then e for same for const of drawing, and for the save state this should be a function with the help of function keyword save state. Inside this nothing. Now we'll find what this mouse draw and start draw will depends. First we'll create this start draw with the help of mouse down. Whenever the mouse is down, we need to add the is drawing equal to true. This will prevent the drawing with the help of this declaration, and will set the preview mouse x equal to e dot offset x, and same for preview mouse y equal to e dot offset y. And then we need to use the ctx with begin path. With the help of this, we are going to draw the values on top of canvas, and ctx dot line width equal to, we have already added the brush width. With the help of that range icon, we'll change that and we'll set the ctx dot stroke style equal to selected color, and ctx dot fill style equal to same selected color. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I go and click on mouse over, nothing is happened. We'll check if this is firing or not with the help of console.log of e. Again I will go to this browser, and here the mouse event is firing, but the ctx is not appending. Why? Because here just we have started the diagram. We need to place the value with the help of this drawing function. Inside this drawing function, we'll check if this drawing not of true, then we need to return from here. Else we can put the ctx dot put image data of snapshot of dx to be 0, dy 0, and this snapshot will be from this dot draw. I will add the snapshot of ctx dot get image data of this x of 0, y of 0, and we'll get the canvas dot width. This will help us to pick the entire value of that image width and height, and we have put this diagram into the ctx dot put image. After this snapshot, we need to add the functions. It may be a pencil or brush or shapes. For that, we'll check if selected tool should be equal to pencil, and selected tool should be equal to brush, or selected tool should be equal to eraser. If any of the selected tool will present, we'll add the ctx dot stroke style equal to selected tool should be equal to eraser. If this is present, then we'll add the color of white color. This will help us to erase all more, we'll add the selected color to be drawn here. And next thing, we'll add the ctx dot line 2 with e dot offset x, comma e dot offset y. And then we need to stoke this ctx dot stroke. And then we need to add the function of draw pencil, and we need to pause this e from here, and with the help of this const of draw pencil, we need to draw the value from here. Inside this, we'll add the ctx dot, we'll add the line 2 again with e dot offset ax, comma e dot offset y. And then we'll set the ctx dot shadow blur equal to 0, and we can use the ctx dot stroke again. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the canvas. If I go and draw that, we'll get the pencil, and we can add the black color of diagram here. And if I click on brush, it will be same, because here inside the diagram we are directly checking only the pencil. Now we need to add the conditions based on the selection, and we'll add the needful for here. We'll check else if of selected tool should be equal to rectangle, and I will copy this. We'll do the same thing for other options also. And then this is rectangle. I will change these things to circle, and this as triangle, and this as square, and this as hexagon, and this as pentagon. Next one as a line, next one as arrow, next one as curve, next one as brush, and end of this will add the else to the pencil. If I save, if I go to the browser, now it is pencil. If I draw, we'll see the reaction of this. If I select on brush, if I go on draw, will not get anything. Why? Because we have not yet initialized any of the function inside this. For this, we'll create functions to this with draw rect, and we'll pause the ear. And for the circle, I will add the draw circle. Again, we'll pause this E, and same for draw triangle, and same for draw square, and same for draw hexagon, and for pentagon, and for line, and for arrow, and for curve, one more for brush. For all this declaration, we need to create the const. For this, next to this pencil, I have created all the const. Now we need to implement based on the selection. First, I will go for the brush. After the pencil, we have the brush. For adding the brush, inside this, I will create ctx dot line 2 with e dot offset x, comma e dot offset y. And next to this, we need to use ctx dot shadow color equal to selected color, and ctx dot shadow blur to be 15. With the help of this, we'll get the stroke of ctx will be drawn from brush. If I save, if I go to the browser, here this is pencil. If I click on brush, here we can see the brush effect with blur. And same thing for eraser also. Here we can see the eraser with the help of this blur. So I can add the pencil again, we can add again. And next thing, we need to add the undo and redo. For this undo and redo, we have already declared the buttons. With the help of undo button, we need to add the add event listener to this. With the help of click of function, this is for undo. I will copy this, and this is for redo. Inside this undo, we'll check if history step greater than equal to 0. Then we'll set the history step minus minus, because we are going to get the previous state. And with the help of const, I will add image equal to new image, and we'll set the image dot source equal to history of array will be history step. And next thing we need to load this image dot onload of this function. We'll add the ctx dot clear rect. This will clear the entire image of canvas with 0 and 0 canvas dot width comma canvas dot height of the entire value. And we need to draw this image with the help of ctx dot draw image from the image with 0 of dx and then 0 of dy. And then if history step double equal to -1, if this is present, we need to clear the entire rect as same as this. So I will copy and use here. This will be help to get the history of first step to be clear with the help of clear rect. The same for redo also. If this is minus minus, we need to increase plus plus. So for checking this, if history step less than history step dot length of this array -1, then we'll do the history step plus plus. This will get the next state of this, and we can reuse this same image function to get the history step, and it will be loaded to that particular image. And what this history contains, we need to store this history whenever we do the save state. For saving the state, we have already created this function. Inside this function, we'll add the history equal to history dot slice. This will get the slice of this array. We'll get that first of 0 and then history step plus 1. This will get to remove the state if you are undo, and then we'll set history dot push of this particular canvas dot to data URL, and then we'll set the history step to be plus plus, and we'll check console dot log of history here to check what to store in the save state whenever we losing the mouse up from here. So I will go to the browser, I will open the console. Put state is not a function, here it is only push. If I say, if I go to the browser, I will open the console. Now it is empty. If I go and add any mouse down, we are getting this pencil. If I do the mouse up, the tool will store the history of this diagram image of this canvas. Again, I will do the mouse up and mouse down. Here we can see the two data of into that history. Again, I will add one more. Here we are getting this 3. If I do redo, there is nothing to redo. If I do undo, it will get the second state. If I do it undo again, it will get that first state. If I click on undo again, we'll get to the first state, and this will be cleared from here. How simple is this, right? Again, we can do the redo and again add some text here, and I will undo and again I can redo here. Redo is not working. We need to check this history step of this is not an history step we are getting from that array. This is history. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will add some 1 and 2 and 3. If I click on redo, nothing is there to redo. If I click on undo, this will undo. If I click on redo again, we'll get the current and previous state. How simple is this, right? With the help of simple array, we have achieved this. And next thing, we'll add the rectangle. If I click on rectangle, if I go and draw, this is drawing the rectangle. We need to do that. For in the rectangle, we have created the function. We need to add the functionalities in it. I will jump to this function of const. Inside this, I will add the if condition to check this field color is checked or not. If not of this field color dot checked, then we'll add the const here of width equal to previous mouse x minus e dot offset x. Same thing for height also. Instead of x, we'll go with y. Instead of offset x, I will go with y, and then we'll return the stoke rect with the help of ctx dot stoke rect of e dot offset x, comma e dot offset y, and then we'll set the width from here with the previous mouse move and height from minus with this. If this is checked, then only we can get this. So I will use this rectangle. This is not doing anything. If I click on fill color, still it is not doing anything. Okay, here some of the misspelled I have done. So I will go and check this is a rectangle. I will copy and use this. If I go and click this rectangle, now we can see the rectangle is filled. If I click on filled, it will empty. Why? Because if it is not off, then only we have done this functionality. Once this is filled, I will cut this. I will use this as a global, and then I will use ctx dot fill rect with the help of e dot offset x, comma e dot offset y, comma width, comma height. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will click on rectangle. Now I will draw, will get this not filled. If I check this fill color, again if I try to draw this, we'll get the rectangle with filled and without filled. The same thing we need to do for circle and all other options also. So I will go to the draw circle here. Inside the draw circle, this should be something different. ctx dot begin path, and we'll set the let declaration of radius because we need to add the circle with some radius. So for that I will use the math dot squat. Inside this we'll use the math dot pow, and we have already added this previous x mouse minus e dot offset x, comma true, and same thing we'll add the math dot pow again with previous mouse y minus e dot offset y, comma true. This will get the radius of that circle, and we need to add this with the help of arc. Previous mouse x, comma previous mouse y, and then what the radius we have founded, and we'll add from the start angle will be 0, end angle will be 2, will multiply by math dot pi, and then we'll fill this color. If fill color dot checked, then we can use the ctx dot fill, else ctx dot stroke. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on circle, here we can see the radius and then arc of this particular circle. If I click on fill color, if I draw, we can get the fill of this circle with the help of that ctx dot fill. Same thing we'll do for triangle also. For this triangle, ctx dot begin path of function, and we'll add the ctx dot move to from previous x mouse and previous to y. We need to move this triangle from x to y, and we can add the ctx dot line to from e dot offset x, comma e dot offset y, and ctx dot line to again previous mouse x multiply by 2 minus e dot offset x, comma e dot offset y. Why? Because the triangle will be start from here, and this should be into the width and height will be a differ, and then we'll close this path with the help of ctx of close path, and we'll use the fill stroke. Same thing for triangle also. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will click this triangle because this should start from here and it will end to this multiply of 2. If I click on fill again, if I draw the same, we'll get the multiply of from starting to 2 point. As simple as this, right? Next thing we'll add for square also. Before that I will paste this fill color if it is checked, and then const of side length. For this square we have some side length with the help of math dot abs of previous x minus e dot offset x. x, and then we'll find the ctx dot begin path, and then we can fill with ctx dot rect e dot offset x comma e dot offset y comma side length comma side length. If I go to the browser, I will click on square. I will do this square. We can see the side length. I will click the fill here. If I draw this, we can get the square width both of side length. Next thing we'll add for hexagon. For this hexagon also, this fill color is same. So I will copy and paste it in the bottom of this function, and we'll add the const again with side length equal to math.abs, and we'll add the preview mouse x minus e dot offset x, and then we'll begin the path with the help of ctx dot begin path. For the x again, we have the 6 phase, right? For that I will use for each of let I equal to 0, I less than 6. As I said, this has a 6 phases, and I plus plus. Inside here we can find the angle of const by 6 times. So here inside this we'll use 2 into math.pi. This will help us to find this area divided by 6, and we'll manipulate by I. Once we find this angle, then we'll create the const of x equal to e dot offset x plus side length what we have already found, and we need to multiply by math dot cos of angle. And same thing for y also. Instead of x I can change to y side angle, and instead of cons I will add to senior. And once we found this, we'll draw this with the help of ctx dot line 2 from x comma y, and then we'll close this ctx dot close path. If I save, if I go to the browser here for the hexagon, I will click. If I draw, nothing is there. I can check this hexagon of name. Sorry, instead of 1 I will set to I here. If I go to the browser, I will click on hexagon. We can see the 6 faces for this. Again, if I click on fill color, we'll get the hexagon with filled. The same thing for pentagon also. For the pentagon we have the 5 faces, so I will copy this same hexagon into this pentagon. Instead of 6 I will set to 5 here, and if I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on pentagon, here we can get with a 5. We need to do some trick here. For this, instead of 6 I will change to 5 here, and we need to minus this math dot pi of pentagon divided by 2. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on pentagon, here we can see the pentagon. I will draw the hexagon also. Here we can see the difference. This has 6 face, this has 5 face. I will use with fill color. For the hexagon I will use with pentagon of fill color. Next thing, we'll add the draw line. That is very simple with ctx dot begin path, and then ctx dot move to from previous mouse x comma previous mouse y, and we'll add the ctx dot line 2 of e dot offset x comma e dot offset y, and then we'll stoke this with the help of ctx dot stoke. If I go to the browser, if I click on line, we can get the straight line comparing to the pencil. How simple is this, right? Next thing, we need to add the arrow. For the arrow I will add one const of head length equal to 15. With the help of this head length we'll get that arrow symbol, and then we'll add the const of angle what we have previously get with math dot and turn 2 with e dot offset y minus preview mouse y comma e dot offset x minus preview mouse x, and then we'll add the ctx dot begin path, and then we'll set the ctx dot move to with previous mouse x comma previous mouse y, and ctx dot line to e dot offset x comma e dot offset y, and we'll stoke this with the help of ctx. We'll stoke and then we'll draw the arrowhead with the help of ctx dot begin path and ctx dot move to e dot offset x minus head length multiply by math dot cos with angle minus math dot phi of divided by 6, and same thing will do for y also. Instead of vx I will set to y, and next thing I will add the ctx dot line 2 from e dot offset x comma e dot offset y. This will begin from this to this, and same thing, instead of minus we'll use to plus of this move to angle from minus to plus again, and then ctx dot close path, and we'll set the ctx dot fill. If I go to the browser, if I click on arrow, for this arrow the head is missing. For that I will reduce this size and then try to draw here, but here still the size is same. For that we need to add the event to change the size of this. For that I will use the size slider dot add event listener of change of function with brush width equal to size slider dot value. This will help us to set the slider size value to the brush width. This brush width we are using this as a global, and we are drawing this with the help of size. So now I will jump to the browser. Now this is pencil. I will change to the size. Now we can see the size is affected. Now I will set to 1. Now we can see the size. Now we try to add the arrow. Still the head is not present. We need check that. Sorry, instead of move to, whenever we start this diagram from the head of move to, we need to do for line 2. I will change this to move to line 2. If I go to the browser, I will reduce the size. Now I will click on arrow. Again, this is cos. Instead of this, I need to change to sin. If I go to the browser, I will click on arrow. If I draw, we'll get this line 2 off with head. So instead of this size, I will reduce to 1. If I click this, now I'll try to draw the arrow. We'll get the line with head of 15. How simple is this, right? Next thing, I will change the color. If I click on any of the color, still the selection is same. I need to add this color, and I need to add the arrow will change the color. For that I will add the color picker. For this we have already added this declaration with the help of this add event listener, and we'll check the change. Whenever we changing the type inside this, we'll get the color picker dot parent element dot style dot background equal to color picker dot value, and then color picker dot parent element dot click, and then we'll add the selections to this with the help of color buttons dot for each. Same for this tools, I will use the button. Inside this we'll get all this list of buttons, and then I will add the event listener of all these buttons of click. And for this I will create inside this function, we'll use the same document dot query selector, and we'll remove this dot options dot selected dot class list dot remove. For this color we use the subclass as selected, and then we'll set the btn dot class list dot add the class of selected. Next to this we need to add the selected color equal to window dot get computer style of this button. We need to set that, and then get property value of background color. This will help us to get the background color of that particular selected value. Again I will jump to the browser. Here now the black color is selected. I will draw the pencil. I will select for red color. The selection is also changed. If I draw with, we are getting the pencil with red color. The next thing, we have cleared this canvas. For this, inside this button, this is only canvas. I will add the text of clear canvas. For this clearing the canvas, we need to add the event listener. That is very easy. We have this clear canvas dot add event listener of click. With the help of this click, we can clear this CTX with the help of entire canvas width and height, and then we'll set the background color function what we have initially created. If I go to the browser, I have added some diagram of squares or triangles or something. If I click on clear canvas, the entire canvas will be cleared. The next thing, once we click on save, whatever we are created there, that should be added as an image. For that, we have already added this save image of dot add event listener of click of this function. Inside this, we'll add the const of link equal to document dot create element, as we done in the many project. With the help of this create element, we are going to create the link tag of a and then link dot download. This will help us to add the downloads of string concatenation with date dot now. We'll save this name with the help of current date and time with dot jpg, and then link dot href equal to canvas dot to data URL. This will help us to get the data URL, and then we'll click the link dot click. This will help us to click and save this data URL as a JPG file. We'll check this again. I will go to the browser. I will add the circle and I will add some image and I will add some human here with the help of some functionalities. Now I try to save this as a image. If I click this, it will ask the download folder with undefined. So we can use any name of human. If I click on save, it will automatically save the image into the download folder. If I go to the download folder, here we can see the draw image as an JPG. Whatever we want, we can create and add it in this text, and we can add the fill with hexagon and with circle, with pentagon, and whatever we want. Again, we can save with human and we can replace it. And again, I will go to the downloads. If I open this, we can see the modified canvas as an image stored in the downloads. How simple is this, right? Here we can erase this whatever we want, and we can add some colors and we can fill it, or without fill also we can add only the borders, and we can do much more in it. And there you have it. We have created a powerful drawing app with adjustable color and brush size, undo or redo capabilities, and even a save feature. This project is a great demonstration of what's possible with HTML5, Canvas, and JavaScript. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel Sarat Chandar K to watch more web development content. If you are interested in JavaScript projects like this, I have created and added a playlist 52 weeks of 52 projects in JavaScript. Link in the description. Please do check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep coding and keep learning. See you in the next video. Happy coding. Bye for now. Have a nice day.